Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Anna Mairosi. She is the owner of Serengeti Catering Events. Anna, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Anna. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, I am the owner of a catering events business. We do a lot of ethnic food catering, so Caribbean cuisine, African cuisine, though we also offer an American menu. We offer bartending and decorating services, waiters, servers, and you're welcome to book one or all of these. So if you're having a cookout and you just wanted wait staff, we can provide that without having more involvement. So that's what I do.
Beautiful. Tell me what really involves in the world of catering and decorating and so forth. It seems like a beautiful job, but at the said very time, it seems like a complicated job, having to do so much things, and sometimes with very little time to get it done. How do you go about preparing for activities like that?
Yeah, so it is definitely a job that requires a lot of pre-planning. Almost nothing happens without pre-planning.
Hmm.
And one of the key factors for us is getting a head start. So, starting to plan an event many weeks before and having already talked to the client, um, and everybody being on the same page and things being ordered well in advance, and opening up packages and going through things long before the event is like the most key parts of having a successful event when it comes to our planning. And that's something that like a lot of our clients just don't have the time or the bandwidth to do. So hiring somebody who many weeks before your event can be working on it is really helpful for a lot of people.
What about customers or clients that you may have? I know that you get some frivolous clients sometimes who would request of one thing and at the last minute change. I'm trying to look at the difficulties of getting things done to satisfy the customer. How do you really work with situations like that?
I feel like that's when the professionalism really comes in, right? So there's what you want, and then there's what's realistic given your budget and the time frame. And sometimes our clients just really need a professional who will say, listen, there's actually nothing wrong with what you've already picked. And given the time constraints and the inability to make your new vision happen, you're better off sticking with this, because this is when you're going to have an event where everything is falling apart at the last minute. So sometimes just kind of like educating the client and explaining, like, we do the best we can and we want things to come out nice, and like we're on your side. We want you to have what you want, but sometimes it's not always possible. And especially in a world where like IG and Pinterest are such a big deal, sometimes clients do want things that they saw on a picture that's just really not realistic. As far as like, if your budget is 4,000, that's a very good budget, but it might not be able to do like the baby shower that Kim Kardashian had.
In situations surrounding other decorators, I know that you're a specialist in your field. And I know for a fact that there are decorators and caterers who are struggling in their business. Not necessarily that they don't have the skill to get the job done, but how would you educate that kind of person or people to be more tactical in performing their responsibilities to a client or getting the job done adequately?
So I mean, three things that I've had to learn is that when you're starting off, sometimes it's really hard to price things. So really taking some time to get to know the products that are on the market, what they cost, putting your labor in there and coming up with a price that's fair for both you and the client. Because sometimes what happens is you get sucked into this idea of wanting to give the client what they want with their budget, and then it eats profit from you. And then in the end, you feel like you're not really getting anything out of the job. So kind of understanding how to price things is a big step that can be a game changer for a lot of people. I have encountered people that I've worked with who, I can say to myself, based on the way that they're pricing this, they probably didn't really make anything as far as what they should have been paid labor. The second thing is, being organized and being upfront and having good communication skills with your client will always help build more success with your events. And lastly is being somebody who can wear many hats. That comes in handy with the event side because, 1 minute you're a painter, the next minute you're like a craftsman. But also just being able to have another job on the side that might not be like
Right.
too draining, but it's a source of income because this is a seasonal business. We live in New England. And so winter snowstorms, people are not just having outdoor parties and events like they would be if they lived in California. So
Would
those
you
would be my 3 tips for people entering this business.
Okay. Would you say as a competitive job, a cutthroat job, I guess there's so many decorators and caterers out there, and considering the constant rise of raw materials or finished
Mhm.
products of in the supermarkets or in the stores, and people looking for the cheapest client. Now, he said there are times where caterers don't even get anything for themselves because they try to give the best
Yeah.
service, but they can't source the cheapest products or byproducts to give that to satisfy that customer and still make a profit for themselves. Is there any kind of advice that you would like to give to a person when doing this business, the essentials of sourcing cheap products and giving the best job, just in order for you to get a good markup in your overall costs?
Yeah, I think over time, what I've learned is that cheap isn't always best. So sometimes you might be able to buy a cheap product, let's say for decorating, and the result won't be as great. Or it will be like a product that's really tedious to work with and will require a lot of labor on your part. Thus making it, and you're only one person and there's only so much time in a day. So now you might have
Right.
to cut other things off that to-do list because this product is going to consume so much labor for you to put it together. So sometimes the cheaper end of things could end up being more costly.
Right.
And then there are times where buying cheaper saves you money and it's effective. Buying in bulk, having all your permits and licenses in order so that you are able to order from like wholesale suppliers that will have great rates, who supply specifically to event planners, as opposed to buying items in the same areas where your clients would buy them. That's also what's going to give you kind of like that edge when it comes to pricing, is having your proper permits and everything so that you can enter that realm of suppliers that supply specifically to businesses.
So this seems like a job where, or a business where, you must have a fair amount of upstart capital, if not having to borrow a loan. And I often think when you have a business where it's not really well, it could have a foundation structure, but a structure whereas there's a consistency of continuous selling of services, opposed to
Hmm.
waiting for a job here and one there and the other way. For a person who doesn't have much capital at large, it may not necessarily be a good venture to enter in because you may end up spending a lot of money, make very little returns, if any at all,
Hmm.
then to wait a week or 2 weeks or a month, maybe longer, to get a next job again. And you probably spend a lot of money in advertising, by the way, your business. Um, what strategies would you say to a person that is heading in that direction to either get up the business or is not so feasible to really go after all? Because they have it look you have to got liquid cash to get you to a
Hmm.
certain point. Even if you try to minimize and buy the cheapest products on the market, you may not be able to give a quality service because the products may not reflect that in what you are delivering. So what would you advise? And advising the person to get out the market is not a bad thing after all. People think that you must be, to be in business, you look good and you stay impressive, but not necessarily that's the truth. Some people are there just to, for show, but business is to make profits and make some, being able to have some financial substance at the end of your life or your working career. Would you advise a person then, if they can't travel that road to prosperity, like to get out of the business?
No, I wouldn't. Largely because I started off with a lot of capital, and what I did was just start off small. I had a very small menu of a menu that I knew was like goof proof for me. My hit dishes that I knew I really could never mess up. I know exactly where to find the product, and that these products are pretty stable market price wise as far as the catering menu went. And then as far as decor, I also just offered a very limited range of things because I didn't have a lot of things. So starting small will give you room to grow, over time. Um, would definitely be one of the things that I would suggest. And then especially now, there's just so many things you can do, like free marketing, as long as you're dedicated and disciplined about like posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, taking good quality pictures every time you do have an event or you do cook or decorate something. And just, putting a lot of like energy, effort, and labor where there is no money can help put you ahead. That's one more thing I wanted to bring up. So Instagram market.
But can
I'll
you
come back.
really, but can you really determine um, what, I mean, for example, you may just start a business, but for some lucky reason, someone give you a big job. And this big job makes a big statement for you as a starter. If you're going to get started off doing a big job and it's someone that probably well known, that is a good statement for your business. Um, how do you determine, should you turn down that position, or should you turn down that business, or should you take on that business?
I would say if you truly feel that you aren't ready skill set wise to take on a job that big, then don't. But if it's really more about like, I don't have a lot of employees and I just don't have the hands, but I have like the skill and mindset to pull this off,
Mm-hmm.
um, reach out to other vendors. And I do this all the time. And I now have like a select group of vendors that I work with all the time. So, a lot of gigs that I get are 30, 40, 50 people, but every once in a while a job comes up and it's 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't have these employees ready to go every single week for an entire year, just waiting for this one or
Right.
200 people party.
Mm-hmm.
So I have vendors that I've gotten to know, and I've gotten to know them by bumping into them at an event, and there's another caterer there, or there's another event decor person there, and we network.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, wow, I really love your stuff. If I ever need to rent extra chairs, I'll give you a call. Wow, I love, your bouquets. Can I get your number? If I ever have a client that needs these bouquets in the future, I'll reach out to you. And I do that. So if I do get a big job, I might not take on every single part of that job, but I'll run concierge for that client and say, no problem. I personally can't do your arrangements, but I know exactly who can. And I will discuss with them and we will coordinate and get on the same page.
Okay. So in other words, then, if for some reason, if you had to subcontract or have someone
Yeah.
that's associate in a specific job, that they
Right.
do one part, you do the other. So therefore, it would be a discussion of what service or what they would bring to the
Right.
place, and that's a form of unity.
Yes.
So lecture the public, and I know you're a successful businesswoman in this case, and I'm asking all these questions because there are small people who are looking to move ahead in life. They may got good decorating skills, um, catering skills, but they just can't find someone to advise them on how they should get started. And better yet, how to do it and get to the next level. Um, how would you advise folks who fall into that category?
One, I would say treat your name and your business like a brand, and think about how other brands are always serious about the type of image that they portray out there. So that would be on all your business pages. That's when you're out networking with other people. Everybody you encounter, consider them a potential client because you just never know. There's no one size fits all type of client. They could come from anywhere. Somebody might not be your future client, but might be the person who connects you to a future client. So just always being in the mindset of presenting yourself as a brand and how you want your brand to be seen. You have to do that legwork and you have to do that work to always be presenting that. In the images, in the background music that you pick in your images, always be thinking of how does this send the message that I want to build as a brand. Would definitely be one thing.
Well, one question I want to ask you here. For me, I don't know nothing really about catering or decorating or anything like that. So when a caterer takes up a position, 'cause I heard you mention music and a couple of different other things. Do the caterer provide the music, the DJ, the decorating, the food, all of that stuff? Do they provide an overall package or just one specific thing?
Typically, a caterer just provides everything food related. However, we're a catering and events company, and we do basically a one-stop shop for you. So if you had a favorite bakery that was 80 miles away and you really wanted this cake for your wedding, we would discuss the price. We would send somebody out there to drive and have that cake there available so that you're not like having to have us do the food and the drinks, but now you have to worry about how's the cake going to get here. Whatever it is, we basically concierge and get it for you. If you had a kids party and you wanted a Cinderella to come and read to the kids, we will find Cinderella and bring them there. So specifically our company, we do that. However, generally a caterer just handles the food portion. So they might take care of like the tablecloth at the buffet table to the food on the buffet and the serving spoons and the dishes and utensils.
Okay, beautiful. Now this is talking about the delicious part, the foods. Now you mentioned earlier that you're expert in Caribbean cuisines and African foods and so forth. Now we live in a state that's heavily diverse. When you go to a catering when you go to cater for any person or business or whatever the case may be, are you told what specific foods you should cater for, or do you bring a mixture of different foods to the table?
We've evolved over the years. I started off specifically catering Zimbabwean and American cuisine because that's what I was most comfortable with. And like I said, I started off small. And as we've grown and kind of like challenged and pushed ourselves over the years, we now say, tell us what your vision is, and then we'll tell you how we can make that happen. So we've had, clients that wanted Caribbean dishes that we could make, and we're happy to make it, whether we've made that for a previous client or not. We've had clients that we've brought in for tastings, and they say, oh, no, that is not how we make jollof rice in our country. My guests would never accept this. And we say, no problem. We will find a vendor from your country to make this dish, and you come in for a tasting and see how you like it then. So we have a variety of ways of like building the picture. And the reason being is that I grew up going to a lot of like African funerals and events where all the aunties always had to cook, and they could never enjoy the event because where else are they going to order this food? And over time, the company evolved from being more like a Zimbabwean themed catering company to like a company that's catering for Africans and Caribbeans, so that when they're away from home, they're able to also have events that are beautifully catered where they're not having to lift a finger and they can enjoy the event. So we have so many vendors from Nigeria, Ghana, different places that we've worked with in the past to make our clients' visions come true, whatever it is that they're looking for.
Okay, great. Crazy question for you. Who cuisines are the best? Who foods are the best? The African foods, the Caribbean, the Caribbean foods, the American
The
foods.
thing is, I love
Who foods are?
food. I
Who
love
foods?
food and I'm really open about food. And literally, like, I like three different types of jollof rice. They're different for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I just think that globally, Africans and Caribbeans have given us a lot. Like, Jamaicans have given the world jerk chicken,
Mm-hmm.
that
Well,
is
that's,
cooked from Jamaica all the way to Britain to you name it.
mm-hmm.
Who doesn't know jerk chicken? So I don't know. I just think that all the different islands and countries have so much to offer.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things I love about Sierra Leonean food specifically. There's certain things I love about Liberian food specifically. So I have no one favorite. I bring it all on. I like it.
Well, I see you displayed some very beautiful foods in some photos that you sent me.
Thank you.
I mean, they look great. I don't know how you get it do, but if you can just tell me, like if anyone who want to reach out to you for catering services, how they can contact you, how they can grab a hold of you in any form. Is there any contact information that you have?
Yes. So we've had the same business phone number forever. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on. 978-495-2454. We are in the process of rebuilding our website as well as restructuring how we do things. So we're actually on hiatus until fall of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
When we reopen, we'll go back to the same website that we've always had, which is SerengetiCatering.com.
It was a pleasure having you on. We come to the end of our program, and this is Anne Mairosi, and she is a caterer, decorator, you name it, the total package. If you want to grab hold of her, you got her information, please reach out to her. I'm sure she will give you the kind of service you're looking for your next event. And until then,
Thank you
all
so
those who
much.
have been, thank you, Anne, so much. And until then, all those who have been tuning in on Living in the 21st Century, have a great day.